The Whispering Peaks. John Harper had always been an adventurous soul, drawn to the untamed wilderness and the thrill of conquering the unknown. So when he decided to hike the remote and treacherous Blackthorn Mountain, he thought it would be just another challenge to add to his list. He packed light: food, water, a map, a flashlight, and a satellite phone, just in case. The locals warned him to go. They spoke of strange occurrences on the mountain, of voices carried by the wind and shadows that moved when no one was there. But John dismissed their stories as superstition. The first day of the hike was uneventful. The air was crisp, the silence of the forest broken only by the crunch of his boots on the rocky trail. By nightfall, he reached a clearing and set up camp. As he sat the fire, he thought he heard a faint whisper carried on the breeze, a sound that almost resembled his name. He dismissed it as the wind playing tricks on his mind. The next morning, he woke to find the sky ominously overcast. The map showed that he was only a few hours from the summit, so he pressed on, eager to reach it before the storm hit. But as he climbed higher, the trail seemed to twist and turn in ways he didn't remember from the map. Landmarks he'd noted the day before were nowhere to be found. The mountain seemed to shift around him, as if it were alive and mocking his efforts. By midday, the storm broke, unleashing a torrent of rain and wind. John sought shelter under a rocky outcrop, but as he waited, he heard it again, a whisper, louder this time. It was sharp and sibilant, like a voice, but not quite human. It seemed to come from all directions at once, echoing off the stones. "Joan! Don't leave us!" He tried calling out, but his voice was swallowed by the storm. Panic set in as he realized he was lost. The map was no help. The trails seemed to lead in circles. His satellite phone had no signal. He was utterly alone, or so he thought. As night fell, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They were no longer just his name. They spoke of things they couldn't know. His childhood, his deepest fears, his secrets. They taunted him, promising to guide him to safety if only he would follow. But every step he took led him deeper into the labyrinth of the mountain. Exhausted and desperate, John stumbled into a cave, hoping to find shelter. Inside, the air was thick with the stench of decay. The walls were lined with strange markings, ancient symbols carved into the stone. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through his bones. He shone his flashlight deeper into the cave and froze. There, in the shadows, were figures, human-like but distorted, their limbs too long, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. They moved toward him, their whispers now a cacophony of voices, each one clawing at his sanity. "You're ours now. Forever." John turned to run, but the entrance was gone. The cave had sealed itself shut. The figures closed in, their cold hands reaching for him. He screamed, but no sound came out. The last thing saw was their hollow, glowing eyes before the darkness consumed him. Days later, a search party found his abandoned campsite. They followed his trail as far as they could, but it ended abruptly at the edge of a sheer. Below, there was nothing but fog and silence. No one ever found John Harper. But sometimes, the locals say, if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can hear whispers carried on the wind, his voice calling out for help from the heart of the mountain, where he remains trapped forever.